your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Chrissie is hilarious.
Chrissie, have you ever heard of the comedian Basha K. Ali?
No, that sounds like something you yell out before you blow up a plane.
Basha K. Ali!
30 seconds remaining.
But you know what good you say? I doubt people stand up to something. I have no disrespect for you at all.
I was very confused by the title, Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that's also what we call it when Ash takes off his shirt. I shouldn't be up here. I should be in school on the other side of the ocean. Hello, welcome. Welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. You can listen to this show on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Rumble, Rockfin, Twitter, Twitch, even Facebook for some reason. We're all over the place. Hello. Hope everybody is having a good whatever day this is. It's Saturday. Oh my God. We are like a sneeze away from August. The summer is flying by. Thank you, D What, for the super sticker. D What? Thank you for the super sticker. Anyway, just wanted to remind you guys, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am creeping up on 100,000. I would love to hit that before the end of the year. I think I'm at 96 and change. So please subscribe to my YouTube. Please like and subscribe. I don't often say that, but I'm saying it now. And of course, tomorrow is Simcast, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on my channel. We're going to have Violet Brandani, Candace Horbox, and my nerdy home, Steph, will be on the show. Plus, I'm scheduling some more interviews here and there. And of course, give me your recommendations, as always. And Nightlife, every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, here on my channel with Keanu C. Thompson. That's the show where we criticize women in their outfits on the various streets of Europe. Okay. You know him. You love him. I haven't had him on in quite some time. I think since before I have given birth. So here he is. The king of legal things. I don't even know how to announce him. It's Nick Rekieta.
Hey, what's up?
Oh my, what's new?
Nothing. Everything is just the same. Except you had a baby. That's cool.
I have a baby. The biggest surprise about having a baby is how not quickly you snap back, because not to talk about breastfeeding again, but if you are breastfeeding, your body basically wants you to stay fat like a cow so that you can make milk for the bean.
Oh, don't talk about this, Chrissie. Trust me. If you talk about the realities of childbirth and what it does, people will assume you hate yourself.
But that doesn't mean I'm not going to try. I'm not going to try to get back. I will.
You'll probably succeed.
It's you know why?
How it goes.
There's far too many bins of pre-baby clothes that I go, you really going to turn your back on all those clothes? Like all those the clothes you spent years accumulating, Oh. And you know what? I was a fat person. I was kind of a fat person in college. So I think anyone who was ever fat in their lives, you remember that. It's it's memory hold. It's like an old trauma, and you're like, oh, I don't want to go back there.
Like your heart aches, but it's from grease that's left over. It's like, oh God, yeah, I used to be this.
Did you say hard eggs?
No, your heart aches.
Oh,
not your hard eggs. Yeah,
I was like, yes. My eggs are fine, Nick. Clearly,
prove it. Prove it again.
Oh boy. Oh my goodness. Now it's hot down here in the basement, but if I take my sweatshirt off, it's like I wasn't prepared for I'll just do an off the shoulder moment. Anyway, Nick, so you've had quite a bit of drama in your life last couple of months.
Nah.
But you look great.
Thanks. Yeah, except for I got the hobo beard going. I was going to trim that, but I'm lazy. No, it's it's been interesting. It's been a nice firsthand tour through the criminal justice system, which is great. Always fun to make a pit stop by what you're commenting on. It's
But how do you feel like your law background actually prepared you for this?
Oh God. Well, I mean, for one thing, sorry, I'm out of Coke, so I'm just drinking tea. For one thing, the hearings and shit like that, like you have a basic understanding of what's going on. A lot of people, when you get arrested and you go in for your first appearance, for example, they don't know what's going to happen. They freak out. One of the things for us was I got arrested with 2 other people. Obviously, I think that's pretty much public knowledge by now. But I knew that we would probably be out the next morning, or next afternoon, by the time they got around to actually letting us out of jail. But I knew we were probably not going to be in jail forever. In theory, we could have been in jail for quite a while. We could have been in jail. We got arrested on a Thursday, so we could have been in jail until a Tuesday because of the holiday weekend.
Do you stay in jail if you can't put up bail?
Well, that no. I mean, it can go that way, but the other way it can go is if you if they just don't do your hearing, because they have a rule. It's a 36-hour rule, but it doesn't include weekends and holidays. So if you get arrested on a Thursday and they don't get your hearing Friday morning, then you could be in until Tuesday.
Ugh, it's like the DMV. It's like any other like sort of public office.
Yeah, it's so it's but I knew that we would probably have our hearing the next day and we would be let go. We weren't charged with any sort of crimes of violence or anything like that. So there wasn't a concern of like going out and murdering people or anything. So they but the other 2 people didn't know that. Like they've never been through that system or experience. And so like for me, it's like, well, I just have to wait. And for them, they're kind of, really stressing out about it quite a bit.
If it was me, I'd be like, do I have to get my butthole ready for jail? I would be freaking out. But joke's on you guys, my butthole is ready for jail.
There you go. It's pre-prepped. Okay. No, and then the other part is just kind of knowing knowing what to yell at everybody. Like, because you have to yell at the cops. It's a requirement when you go to jail. You have to yell things all the time. Like from your cell, you have to be like, "Hey, yo, where's my sandwich?"
Did you have a mug to clink across the bars?
No, there's no bars there. It's just county jail is just cement walls and cement everything.
Oh God.
And then like sheet metal like appliances, like your toilet sink. It's like it's one thing. It's like a tower. Right. It's like a tower of efficiency. It's like a toilet on the bottom and a sink on the top so you can wash your hands while peeing, which is good. You can also get, you can take a sip of your water from the water fountain.
I would hate that because I'm not a great I won't get graphic. I'm not great at number 2, and certainly like not for an audience. Like if I'm in a cell with somebody else and I'm just basing this on television shows I've seen, but I would not be able to, I would just not go. It would just crawl back up my body and stay there.
So your butthole isn't ready for jail.
I guess not.
No, it's I mean, again, it depends on how long you're in there, but for us, we were only in there overnight. It was not like this long endeavor. It's not fun, don't get me wrong, but there's not like anything to do. If you're there for a longer period of time, you have to worry about stuff like that, but it's really just like, you pee a couple times and then
Where does your phone go?
Mine was actually still in my car.
Oh, wow.
They because if people don't know this, I was not home. I was in my car, and so
most people think that you were home, and everyone's like, oh, like they're gonna see them breaking down the door, and everyone's gonna be home. And
yeah, there's a big miscommunication about that because they asked me for the code to my door, and said they wanted to open the door. People think they did that while I was standing there, but I was away. I was like a half mile to a mile away from my house. And so they asked me for the door code, and I'm like, you just haven't shown me a warrant yet. Like, so I'm not going to give you the code to my door. I said, can we go to my house? Like, just take me there. Like, we'll go to my house and you can show me the warrant and I'll let you in. I'm not going to stop them, but they didn't have a warrant on them. They're like, well, we got one. It's just not here. And I don't know if you guys have tried that, but if you try that with the police, they don't believe you. And so if you, you play a Uno Reversi card on them, they're like, well, we have one. It's like, that's great. Just where is it? And so they said they'd show me, but they didn't until after I had gone to my house and they were already searching it. They had already busted the door down. So there's some misconceptions about that. I was not standing there when they busted the door down. All I did was ask them to show me the fucking warrant that they swore they had. And it's like, just show me the warrant. I'm not cooperating with you. I just don't believe you until you just pull out the piece of paper
So
that
did
you
they
say exists.
call you or find you in your car when you were down the road?
I was driving down the road. I was traveling in my land boat, right? As a sovereign citizen does. No, I was traveling down a road near my house, and I saw this convoy of cars go by, and I thought we were being swatted.
Okay.
So I actually pulled over, and I was getting ready to turn around, and then one of the cars peeled off the convoy and came up behind me because they obviously must have recognized my plates. And I was not in my Mustang, just so people know, like it was my Navigator. But so I was driving, and the car pulled off and came up behind me. So then I thought they were going to tell me, hey, we got another swatting call and we were responding to it. It's very serious or something. And I was like, oh, fucking hell. But no, they came up and then asked directly. They're like, I need you to step out of the vehicle for a search. And I'm like, well, that's not how this works, right? Like I'm not going to do that. And then the whole thing started with, well, we have a warrant. It's like, that's fine. Where is it? And well, I don't have it on me. Like, what is there? Are you out of paper? Do you have like a phone you could show me the warrant on? Like anything at all? And they're like, we just don't have it. And it's like, how many people do you have all these cop cars? And they literally had one paper copy of the warrant and no electronic copies that they could show me or anything. And I'm sorry, I'm just cautious. I don't consent to searches. I don't consent to anything without just seeing the reason I'm supposed to allow them to do it. And so, like I said, I told him, I'm like, if you just show me the warrant, like you can search me, you can search the house, whatever you want to do. And they didn't until they were, midway through the search. So it was fun, but it's like, it's weird having that happen. But yeah, I was just traveling down the road in my land boat when I was pulled over, and the rules of admiralty, they said didn't apply, but I screamed that they did a whole lot.
Did everyone throughout this whole process with you, did anyone seem sort of like impressed that you knew more? I mean, you know more than the average person, obviously, because of your background.
No, they get annoyed
by it.
They get annoyed. They don't want to get into arguments about 4th, 5th, or 6th Amendment stuff with anybody. One of the problems was that, for the purposes of like just the immediacy of it, effectively, the two other people who were arrested with me, like, were my clients. I mean, they both requested me as their lawyer, and the officers didn't want to let me see them. And it's like, well, I mean, they have a right.
Were they afraid that you're going to like give them answers and like tell them what to say and shit?
I think at the time they were treating us all as co-defendants. I think that's changed a little bit now, but they were treating us all as co-defendants. So they thought that I would get them together and like get their stories straight or something. It's like, I don't know how you get the story straight on this kind of charge or whatever. But I think that was their fear. They wanted to talk to us individually. The problem is they asked each of the other two, they asked them if they wanted to talk, and they both said, we want our lawyer. And so they stopped asking the questions. Kudos to them. But as far as for me, like I gave a statement willingly because I wanted to call the cop a pussy a whole bunch. Sorry, I'm kind of an asshole.
You did? You called the cop a pussy?
Yeah.
I'm sure he liked that.
Believe me, that wasn't going to get me in any worse issue than I was in at the time. So it was like, I said, where's your probable cause statement for the warrant? Like they showed me the warrant, which just says they have the warrant to search your house. And I was like, yeah, based on what? And I said, I know your probable cause is bullshit. So show it to me. He's like, oh no, I got it. I got this probable cause. And I'm serious. This is how I was acting. It was funny. He's like, I got your probable cause. I was like, yeah, sure. Where is it then, you pussy? Like, it's bullshit. So that was fun, having a nice exchange with another citizen.
Yeah, of course. So I want to know who, and of course you, like, before we were recording, I was like, oh, and I was like, who's gotten it wrong of all the coverage? And then you were like, well, I'm not sitting home watching everybody who's covering me. And I was like, of course, right.
I'm not watching any coverage of me. What I have watched is very limited to basically Robert Barnes did a video talking about hair follicle testing and stuff like that. It's a really interesting video. He has some of the facts wrong in there. Nothing like super crazy or whatever about it, but it's just an interesting video about hair follicle testing. I'm not going to say whether or not it applies to my case or not. People should, though, just check out what he says, because it's a really it's a thought-provoking discussion about the nature of testing and how the state utilizes testing. That whole discussion is useful for anyone curious about the legal system. I was curious what he had to say about it in relation to my case. His video is not making it into my trial, so it doesn't really matter. As far as other stuff, I really haven't watched it. I don't. Most people don't know enough to make a fully fleshed out opinion on the legal matters. And that's how, that is not a knock on anybody, just so everybody's clear. That's how all of us operate when we're doing the law tube thing. We don't know the facts except for what's presented and what we can try and infer by reading between the lines. So people do their coverage, whether it's good or bad is irrelevant to me, because unless they have some interesting novel legal theory, that's a legal theory and not an evidence-based theory, it's not going to be that useful. So it's much more helpful for me to just go over my own case, review the discovery documents I have, talk to my attorney about what we're going to do and stuff like that.
And the part you mentioned about Barnes talking about hair follicle testing, that's because they tested your kids for drugs and something came up on one of their hair or something like that. And I didn't understand, how does that even get into somebody's hair?
That's a really, really good question. And the hard part is the internet goes with this weird theory that someone was dosing my child with a drug. They blame me, of course.
It looks a lot like dry shampoo. That's what I figured. I use dry shampoo all the time instead of washing my hair.
Look, I have no idea about that. What I don't know is how that test result came to be. And there's a lot of ways that a test result can come to be that have nothing to do with taking drugs. And this is, again, if you want a good exploration of the problems with hair follicle testing in specific, go watch the Barnes video. Don't sit and listen to me. I could talk quite a bit about it now. I've done a ton of research on catching up on the literature for it, how the legal world treats it, what you would have to do to challenge all of it. The reality is whether or not we end up challenging it depends highly on how our cases go. And there's no real indication right now of what that looks like in specificity. Not enough for me to comment anyway. So, but you can go watch it. But the answers for how cocaine gets in a hair follicle test range from someone's doing cocaine to someone is exposed to cocaine through some sort of environmental condition. And that environmental condition doesn't necessarily mean in the environment. If we take it out of cocaine, for example, and we go into meth people who smoke meth in a house. There's meth in the air. There's like actual meth fumes, and those can be absorbed into hair follicles. And so what you have is in places where, the smoking of a drug takes place, especially children can have, detection because it literally gets into their skin on their head and into the hair follicle and then grows into the hair that way. We're not accused of anything like that. We're not accused of our child ingesting cocaine. We're not accused of actually anything involving that at all. Our accusation, our charge in the criminal case is literally the presence of a controlled substance where minor children live. That's the extent of the charge. So, it's people on the internet come up with like crazy theories about it and stuff like that. But, we know the truth about it. We know that our child was not ingesting cocaine. That's a very,
if they were, they would have been getting so much more homework done, cleaning their home.
They'd probably again, hair follicle numbers are really tough, but you could imagine that they would go to a hospital, like that there would be some sort of medical record of that. And there it just isn't any. There's nothing like that. There's no witness to that. This isn't a claim the state is making. The state has their evidence and they're not claiming it. This is purely an internet fiction. And, that's fine. The internet only has what information they have. I'm not begrudging people for it. I do think it's a little ludicrous that people like assume that that's what was going on, but it's the internet and they assume that everybody's insane because most of us are, honestly.
So other than Barnes, what other law tubers do you think have been fair, or you're not, you don't know enough?
I really don't watch. Like I just don't. There's no profit for me in it. And I mean, the information is useless to me for most people. They're going to make claims and speculations and try and explain aspects of the law. And that's great, but I don't need that done. I have me, and then I have my lawyer, and we discuss, we discuss what's going on based on the facts that we actually know, based on the discovery that's out there. And, the discovery is pretty interesting. I can't talk about it right now, but at some point, maybe I'll get to disclose more. But it's when you actually get into the case and see what the state has, you go, okay.
What's involved in discovery? Because I know that Gina Carano's case, I think, is moving forward against Disney. And I'm told that that's going to just involve a lot of just opening up emails and texts. I'm like, well, that's going to be pretty cool because I'm very curious to see who had been scheming against Gina since the very beginning and who had it out for her.
Well, discovery in civil cases and criminal cases they're similar ideas, but they're different in how they work out. Criminal case discovery, the state has to disclose all of the information that it plans to use against you, and they have a duty to disclose any potentially exculpatory information. We saw this with Alec Baldwin's case, where the state gave a bunch of discovery over, but then there were these other bullets that, even though they weren't really related to the case, they could have had some exculpatory value. Someone said, oh, these bullets were on set. And they gave them to the prosecutor. Well, the prosecutor didn't give those to the defense. And the defense is like, hey, maybe these bullets could have been used to prove our client's innocence. And now we don't get to, it's a Brady violation, is what it amounts to. They have a duty to turn over this evidence that may make you not guilty. And they didn't do that. So in criminal cases, you have the state with a duty to do all of this. And then you have to try and hold the state and to the fire. In civil cases, it's similar, but it gets a little bit, there's less of a duty to turn over information that may be helpful to the other side unless they ask for it specifically and stuff like that. So they have to, have knowledge of it. It becomes a little bit more of a problem. Figuring out this stuff with the state, and discovery violations in civil cases have different remedies than the state. But in a criminal case, the way it looks is just, the state emails you typically packets of information, and you just go through them. And there's there's pictures, there's interviews, there's all that stuff, and you just have to go through it all. And God, there's a lot of it.
Do you think Alec Baldwin paid the prosecutor to just basically, I don't know, it's so fishy to me. It just looks like he paid somebody off to like mess up the case.
Maybe he didn't, but maybe someone else did. I don't know. Or they just really didn't want. They might just not have wanted that much drama, in the county. It was interesting for the Baldwin case because that judge has never issued never dismissed a case for a Brady violation ever. So it's not like a judge that is known to do this. It was kind of a Hail Mary and they got it.
Jeez.
But I don't know. I don't like to speculate on whether or not someone paid someone off or whatever, unless there was an obvious conspiracy. But they kind of had Baldwin dead to rights. I mean, really, it was going to be a matter of convincing the jury that different rules apply on a movie set to the point where someone dying is less of a big deal. And that's a hard sell, right? It's like, well, and it was right in the beginning of each of their opening statements. The opening statement for the state was, look, this is a work day and people are going to work. And this weirdo comes into work waving a gun around and shooting someone. It's like, well, that's not really what happened, but I mean, kind of. Wow. And then his lawyer comes out and he's like, the state wants you to believe this is just a regular work day, but this is a movie set and movies are pretend. And everything about the movie is supposed to be pretend, magic and illusion. And right now something happened that caused the illusion to be broken and someone died and it's a tragedy. But what you're going to find out from the evidence is that all the rules of the illusion and the magic making, all of those were followed. And so they are immediately setting up the real world rules of like, don't point a gun at someone and pull, then especially don't pull a trigger unless you want them to die. And then the other world of like, well, this is a movie land where we point guns at people all the time and pull triggers. The hard part about that is they're usually not pointing a gun at someone. They're usually pointing a gun at a camera or at an angle that is not at someone in a scene. And so there's a bunch of safeguards in place to prevent the actual pointing of a gun at an actual person that could kill them as much as possible. And that didn't happen here. So again, it's like these two competing narratives, but once you get in front of a jury, that's how it goes. The actual legality of it gets sculpted through opinion and emotion.
And they're like, well, it's not like an actor died. So calm down.
Right. You don't even know her name.
Yeah.
You don't even know her name. Alec Baldwin didn't even know her name. Her name was that woman. That woman stepped in front of my bullet. She stepped in there.
Woman camera person.
Guys,
speaks out. The case seemed mishandled from the get-go. They needed to pin the death on somebody, which was says Martina Marquez, New Mexico. Juror number 1. I would love to be on a jury. I've never had to do jury duty. Not
me
once.
Either. And I probably never will, which is cool.
Why did they sort of take you out of the running now after all this?
No, it's more like they usually don't want lawyers on juries.
Oh, okay.
Because we'll be in the back room like, no, it's not how it works. No. That they just don't want that type of person. Lawyers also tend to have like assertive personalities. And so when you get a person who's got that assertive personality in any respect, like you want them to agree with you in principle or in understanding going into the jury room. And that's a big risk unless you know to do that. And if you know, the other side probably knows too, and they're probably going to, get rid of them. But
I wonder if I've never been picked for a jury because I'm a little racist. Because isn't that always the thing that people do when they're like, oh, just say you hate those people, and then you'll be dismissed.
It depends. It depends on what the two parties want. There are weird cases where they may want racists on the jury, like both sides. I guess like black on black crime.
Yeah, I do fun racial jokes. I make observations.
We do a little bit of fun racism around here.
It's fun racism. It's never not fun. What do you think, Nick, are some of the biggest, like if you could dispel like the top 2 rumors in your situation? The top couple of mistruths, what would they be?
Well, there's one in the chat. Donovan says Nick is a child neglector at minimum. We're not charged with child neglect. We're not accused of child neglect at all. Actually, that's not a concern of the state in regards to us at all. Which again, this all comes from, there's this big gap of information that occurs because the state has what it initially has, and then the state has its case that it builds over the course of things. And we're not accused of that. In fact, the state is pretty clear. It's pretty obvious from, their observations and their interviews with us, with the children, with our family members, that isn't a concern of theirs at all. That the children love the hell out of us. We love the hell out of them. They have a full home of activity and a great environment to live in. That we're very involved with them. And like, people have built a narrative based on these initial reports that came in, but those reports were ignored. Initially, they were used as a basis for a search warrant, which that has its own issues to potentially hammer out, but those weren't actually the basis of anything involving the children. Our children were removed due to an emergency placement because, again, there's a statute that says that if there's a controlled substance in a home, the child is presumptively in danger. So
Did you know that could happen?
Did I know that could happen? Well, sure. Yeah, I mean, that's a statute. Like, I think your question is a weird one to answer because there's an implication that, like, we're violating that statute, but
Yeah.
the state has to prove that we intended to violate that statute.
Okay. I think I'm just such a prude. Like, I almost wouldn't even let my friend hold my baby because she had been like smoking cigarettes. I'm like, did I not go?
It's interesting when you really get down to like what the state considers like child maltreatment and child neglect, and when you put rules down on paper, they often don't make sense. And this is the boon and bane of the family court system and the juvenile protection system, is that often you get nonsensical results. Like, you can have people who are consistently intoxicated, or they have a home filled with like nicotine smoke, for example, and that won't be child endangerment. And it's like, well, I mean, that's probably more dangerous than a lot of situations children are in when we get down to it. Or you can have, they'll say, for example, you can't have a controlled substance in your house, which, sure, that makes sense. That's a sensical law, but there's a whole bunch of substances in your house that are perfectly fine to have that are as dangerous or even far more dangerous to children, like bleach, for example. And you don't get arrested for having like a thing of bleach in the wrong place, even though that would be more dangerous to children than, for example, a child stumbling across marijuana or something in one of the states where marijuana is legal or illegal. You have the whole fucking Tide Pod thing, right? Like, the amount of toxic and dangerous chemicals that are in our house are actually, like, there's myriad of them, but they're household chemicals. And we have an expectation that people handle those in a responsible way.
And you're like, look, we were just using the Coke like an OxyClean. Just
no, I'm not admitting to or saying anything like that at all. Not even as a joke, it's unfortunate because it would be nice to joke about it, but it is really serious. Like, it's serious for us. And we don't really, I'm a guy who likes to joke about everything, but this one I can't really find funny in regards to the kids, especially. And it's like, you want to be jovial about it, but it's difficult, at some point I'll get to, I guess. But the other misconception is that people think like, they think, because you asked for like two misconceptions. The other one is that people think that I'm not complying with drug tests and stuff like that, because again, there's a gap of information. And the reality is that ever since the county actually asked us to do drug tests, we turned in clean drug tests. And they don't have an unclean drug test. So there's a problem. There's a problem with that narrative for them. People think also that we were drug tested like when we were arrested. They didn't do anything like that. They have misunderstandings about like procedure and what happened. They're like, oh, they must have arrested them and tested them and they tested positive for everything. It's like, no, actually they didn't test us at all. They didn't even ask.
Wow. Okay.
Which is weird. It's weird that they didn't. Like, I would assume that they would, and they could have secured warrants to to get or a judge's order or whatever to get drug tests from us. They just didn't do that. And so once the county asked us for drug tests, we complied immediately. We've been complying ever since. People think that we paid we posted bond. Both Lady Rackets and I posted bond for unconditional release, but that was the criminal case. The family case, we've been under conditions for quite some time. And, people may have questions about why you post bond. There's a ton of good reasons to post bond, depending on how long your case is and what you have to do. If you're going to be under, this is just general advice for people. If you have a substance charge in Minnesota and you go and you get arrested, they're going to release you. And if they release you on conditions, the condition is going to be complying with random drug testing. Well, that random drug testing is going to cost you $75 a shot. So if you're going to be on random drug testing for several months, then you just have to do a math formula of how much your bond costs and how much you're going to pay in drug testing. And so we were arrested May 23rd. Our first hearing is August 21st, our next hearing. And then after that, it could be several months past that. Well, if you're going to be on drug testing through that program, you're going to pay $75 every 2 to 4 days.
Oh,
per person. So if you're going to do that, well, if you get tested 10 times, it's $700, $750 a month. If you get tested 10 times in a month, which is a very kind of normal average outcome. And so if you pay your unconditional bond, if you're going to be on release or whatever for, 3, 4, 5 months, it starts to become a pretty easy cost proposition to say, well, I can pay, for us, it was $5,000 up front. So you pay $5,000 or you're going to pay more than $5,000 as you go through this thing.
It's like gas when you get a rental car.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Like there's a time where paying for the gas up front can be very advantageous. Because you don't want to pay for it on the back.
Screw me. I've never done it. I'm just like, I know your tricks.
Usually get a pretty good price on the gas.
And also they want you to pay in advance for the tolls. And I don't trust that either. I'm like, you don't know where I'm going. You don't know what I'm doing.
Okay. I haven't seen the toll one, but I haven't rented a car in a while. So.
Yeah. I'm a big car renter.
But yeah, so people assume that because we paid for our unconditional bond in the criminal case that we haven't had drug testing and we haven't complied or some other nonsense. And it's like, no, I think the first drug test we turned in was at our hearing on June 7th. And then after that, we were ordered, it was June 6th or June 7th. After that, we were ordered to comply with drug testing. And we have like the entire time. And shocker, they're all clean. It's amazing. But yeah, people assume that we're just sitting around, and that restriction's great. Like that includes alcohol and everything. You can't do anything. It's amazing.
How fun. just your thoughts. You're alone with just your thoughts.
Just your thoughts and your sweet tea.
Have you seen your kids since all this went down?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we see our kids, right now we see them 5 times a week, and they'll be back in our house really soon. So,
oh wow, okay.
Again, it's another misconception. People think, again, they've created this fiction in their head that the state thinks that we like abused our children or that we did anything other than the state's position is that there's this statute that says this happened. And again, without making any admissions or denials on stream publicly, that's the state's position, is that we're charged with this under this statute. all of the other stuff that people have created about like child endangerment, child neglect, child maltreatment, that's not in the state's case. They don't believe that that's happened. And guys, they talk to the kids, they talk to fucking everybody, you know. And what they find in our case is pretty simple. The community knows that we're very involved in our kids' lives. Our kids love the hell out of us. Our kids are all in very good health. No one saw any signs or symptoms of any of the stuff that the internet has created. So, you know, we're on track to get our kids back relatively quickly for this county, which is, in my opinion, way too long. But that being said, you know, they'll be back really soon. Sorry to dispel that one, guys, but we're not charged with the things that people on the internet have decided that we have, and we're not even accused of them. Not just that we're not charged, it's that they don't have any information leading to the conclusion that that our kids are mistreated. So we've seen them throughout this entire process, and it's just been building towards the state being confident that there's not some substance in the home. It's like, that means the state can come and look, and they do. They did yesterday. It was great. You get to give the state a nice tour of your house whenever they want.
Gives you a reason to vacuum, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, again, there's a lot of I guess headcanon that's out there that people have, and it's incorrect. And like, I wish I could just correct it all, like all the time. You want to, when you like read about it or hear someone talk about it, or you get a message and you're like, I wish I just could sit there, but you can't sit and do it. One, that can get really problematic for your case if you're talking all the time. Two, you just don't have time to address it all.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense. That clears up a couple of things. Let's see. I don't know if I'm gonna. There's a lot of. There are some super chats here. We can address them, or I mean, you know, you can only talk about.
I'm here at your pleasure. So if you want to do super chats, like there are things in my case I absolutely can't talk about. The stuff that I'm talking about is stuff that is pretty well set and is easy to like discuss and doesn't have implications for the case itself. So I can't talk about specific facts of the case. Those things are going to have to go through court. I can't talk about legal strategy. Those things are going to have to be done in court, all of that stuff. But, you know, I'm fine just saying I can't answer that to any super chats. So you don't have to censor any from me.
I've been joking, really like this whole time over the past few months, like, oh my God, this is all my fault. I introduced April and Aaron to Nick back in October at the show.
And then you left, you abandoned me.
Because we went to Anime Matsuri last August already, and I did that show at the secret group in Houston, and like you and I had that funny like banter. Like I was on stage and I was like ripping into you a little bit, and you were like firing back, and I was like, Nick's kind of funny, and then I was like, you should do some time. I'm gonna do this show in Minnesota.
You should do some time, really, Chrissy. You should do some. This is your fault. This is your fault.
Oh shit. On stage, and God, you and the Imholtz were the only people I've ever heard of living in Minnesota, so I was like, you guys should meet. And then now look
what you've done.
Look what I've done.
You've really fucked over my summer, that's for sure.
I messed up your white boy summer.
Oh, hey, Lila's in the chat. Hey, what's up, Lila?
Oh, Hi, Lila. We love Lila. Lila has famously said on Simcast, "You fucked up." Oh, no. But how have things been with? How have your relationships been? How are things with? I don't know. It sounds strange to be like, "Ooh, how are things with your wife going?" But
it's the good. It's this is really stressful. It's really hard. There's no peace when you're in the criminal justice system. There is none until you're out of it and out of it. Like there's the out of it, like, oh, you're past your charges or whatever. And then there's the out of it as in any sort of probation or whatever that you have to do is done. So it's constant stress. You know, you are in this community and there's a stigma attached to you because of the charges and that's just something you have to deal with. But other than that, I mean, it's good. She doesn't really like being like on the internet. Like she doesn't really want to deal with that shit. So
like being
people
talked about, or just like the mug shot.
No. Like she doesn't like people have asked why they haven't seen her, like why I haven't pulled her onto a live stream. It's like, well, she doesn't really want to be on a live stream. Like she doesn't want to be in a video.
She was never a live stream person, right? I mean, she'd come to like anime, she'd come to a couple events, but
yeah, and she'd been on a couple like she'd come on the stream a couple times throughout the years, but not often. But you know, like right now it's mostly just she'd prefer her privacy as much as possible. But you know, other than that, like you just go through every day and it's like, well, what are we doing today? Is there anything we have to do for the state in regards to getting the kids or to working on something? And there's always something that you have to do. And it's like some piece of paperwork that you have to sign or some, like we have to do random drug testing. So it's like you wake up every morning and have to put your fucking info into a website or call a phone number and they tell you if you test or not. Didn't have to test today. Yay. But it's like, you may have to. And then that really throws a monkey wrench in doing much of anything, because if you're going to be gone, you have to find a place where there's a test that you can get to. If you have to test, like a testing center or whatever, that's close enough that you can get into. So you can't really go on vacation. You can't like go on a trip. You're just kind of stuck mostly around your house. And so then it's, the other thing is, do we have a visit? Like with the kids, obviously that kind of dominates our day, rightly so. But, you know, other than that, it's just like getting things ready for the kids to come back home, which is real. Again, it's really pretty soon. We're very excited for that shit because it's been too long. One thing that people don't really get, and it's hard to convey because no one believes you. But again, the state doesn't have any information about this substance in our house. They don't know where it came from. They don't know who owns it. We're charged. We're not convicted. So until they convict us, you go into this like realm of legal fiction where they have a thing that they've got. They've got a thing. They've field tested it. They haven't done the BCA, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension testing. So it's not actually like they don't actually know what they have until it goes through this testing. The field tests are not admissible at trial. They have to actually get it tested at a lab. It has to be observed and all of that stuff. So that hasn't occurred yet, to my knowledge. If it has, we haven't gotten the results yet. But so there's this legal fiction where they go, okay, we think we have a thing that violates a statute. And so in the family case, they act in the interest of safety, like this abundance of caution, like, okay, this is a thing we think is dangerous, so we got to do this thing with the kids, right? But what they don't actually have yet is proof of any of it. They don't have proof of what the substances are, and they don't have positive drug tests from us. And they don't have like a whole bunch of interviews saying that like we're bad parents or anything like that. So they're operating in this realm where, okay, we see this thing and they do what everybody does on the internet. It's the same. This is just a human condition. We see these things and we build a story in our head about what it must be. And then they start trying to find out how to fill out the gaps in that story. And the problem that the state has had for us in the child case is they can't fill in the gaps for what they think is occurring. They can't find, like some people have said, oh, that's like an amount that they would use for distribution. It's like, well, okay. Well, they can't find people that were distributed to, for example. A lot of times what they'll have is there will be arrests of small possession charges for people that will lead back to a dealer. We don't have anything like that. they can't find any testimony from people that we were intoxicated. Our kids said that they've never seen drugs. They've never seen us intoxicated. They don't know anything about that.
Okay. Wow.
So like they don't have this story that they think they have, and they don't have the story that the internet thinks they have either. And so the state has this problem where they go, well, something had to have happened. We just can't figure out what it is.
Why did we go there?
Right. And so it produces this weird place that we're in, where they're returning our kids because they can't find any evidence of the types of abuse or neglect or anything that accompanies their normal sort of process. Normally if they go into a house and remove a substance, they find people with addictions, they find kids in turmoil and distress, they found stuff. And when they came into our house, what they found was a shitload of laundry, because we have 5 children and we have way too many clothes because we just have a shitload of clothes.
Was it folded? Was it like ready to be laundered, or were they laundered and just not put away?
It was both. And the thing is, like, our living room is right outside of the laundry room. So it was in piles, sorted out, ready to go in. And then there were some piles that were folded and stuff like that, ready to be put away. But that's just kind of the nature of the house.
You guys both do the laundry? Is there?
Yeah.
I feel like, because it always falls to me.
Oh, well, there's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about a week of laundry in a house of 7 people, it's 50 shirts. It's 50 pairs of pants. Like, it's a lot.
You guys aren't re-wearing? I'm wearing stuff till it smells sometimes.
Oh God, see, no. you can't do that, because if people report, that's another thing. Like there's a misunderstanding of some reports where people say that like some of our kids were re-wearing clothes multiple days and stuff like that. And it's like, well, no, we have a shitload of laundry and the kids still had plenty of clean clothes that they're wearing. But again, reports from people who don't live in your house about things, you can't really control what other people say.
Nobody's flipping their pants inside out. Oh, I almost fell.
I only do that with underwear. But
okay, good. I was going to say
like,
before, because you guys live in do you guys live in like a small town? Because that's why I asked about how things are going with Kayla. It's not like you guys could go do a date night, right? Because when people would see you, I feel like you've become a little bit of like a town spectacle. Do you feel like people are kind of like watching your every move?
It's weird because you never know. And yes, people do watch like I'll hear about it. I'll hear about where I went, for example, like from a friend, which is awkward. But the problem is you never know. Like, it's like, when you walk into a restaurant and the people who are like by the door, they like turn and look just because there's movement or whatever. And then you go, wait, are they like looking for a while? Like, did they read about us in the paper? Did they see a picture? And you just have no idea. That part of it kind of really sucks. Like, cause it puts you on edge. Cause you just never know if someone's really like, if they know what's going on or if they just think you're like fat or something. Like, well, that's a stupid shirt. And they just are looking for a while. But, it's, that part of it's just, it's awkward. So it makes you not want to really go out as much. And of course you can't like, this is another fun artifact of the internet. People are like, I can't believe that Nick Rekieta went out and did stuff while the state has his kids. Like, well, you still have to live. And there's only so many hours of the day that you can devote to doing things to get your kids back. Like there's not a thing to do most of the time. So it's like, well, do you go out to eat? Like, well, yeah, I mean, you have to eat at some point.
Yeah, you've already said you prioritized anything you have to do for the legal stuff, and you prioritize anything you have to do for getting your kids back. So with the rest of your time, you're gonna go get a tattoo or something.
oh, you're gonna bring up the tattoos. See,
only because it's in the super chat.
So the tattoo. Well, I got my snake tattoo filled in. Okay.
Oh, so all right. We're gonna solo layout this.
Yeah. So it was.
Wow! Look at that bad boy.
It goes all the way up here, but no, it's I've been waiting for the tattoo artist who started. Okay, now I'm too
okay.
bad.
Hold on.
Let me back. That was uncomfortable.
I just leave it up a little too long.
But no, like the artist in January had sketched out the snake, and then he's coming back in July. So I knew that he was coming back and had made an appointment a long fucking time ago to get this to get the rest of the snake done. So like that was just a product of timing. People like, can't believe they're going out to a tattoo convention. It's like, well, I mean, again, we've done everything we can do up to that point. Like you still have the rest of your life to live. Like you still have to go do stuff. So that's just how it is. Now,
Did you get him? Yeah, Nathan is asking if you got matching tattoos with April.
no.
No, you didn't get
No.
matching tattoos?
So we didn't get matching tattoos. No, my wife got a tattoo. April got a tattoo. I got my tattoo filled in. It's a tattoo convention. You go, you find artists, they have time, and you can get stuff done. So
okay.
We all went to the convention. We went because I was getting the snake filled in. That was the main purpose. And then it's like you find an artist that you like and you have an idea and it's like, oh, okay, cool. But no, they're not matching tattoos. They're all very different.
Okay. Another rumor dispelled.
I guess. Is it a rumor that they're matching tattoos?
Yes, I've heard.
I don't have wolves on my forearm, guys. Like it's
I've
not
heard
the
that
same
you
thing.
all got matching tats. And
No,
I have
very
no
unmatching.
tattoos. So that is the ultimate commitment for me. Like marriage, that's a big deal, but a tattoo is forever.
Jesus. That was depressing.
So are you guys, all three of you are kind of just like really hanging out most of the time as much as before?
Yeah, April lives really close by. We hang out a lot. I don't know. We're still friends. There's a weird thing that happens when you go through something like this with someone else. Like it's simultaneously extremely stressful, but also like it's a safe person to hang around. Because
is it like trauma bonding?
Maybe, but like, okay, so like you can't just sit around talking about your lawsuit with people unless they're also like in the same boat. So it makes it convenient because you don't have to like worry so much about what you say. You don't have to have like a is this going to get like recorded and put back somewhere or whatever. Like you don't have to have those concerns. You could just be, which is a really nice thing. And unfortunately, like some of the people and would normally talk to, they develop opinions too. And you don't have time to dispel everything. So that stigma that sits around, it kind of in a way pushes people close together, but it also does make it really stressful. Like it's not always fun. People are in bad moods a lot because, oh, hey, there's a felony charge waiting for you at the end of the month or something. And so you're like, you're there, but yeah, like we hang out and I don't know, just try and live.
Is there other moments where like people are blaming each other, or is there kind of like a collective, like, all right, we're all kind of sharing this together?
That's a weird question to answer because like the answer to it could imply like some sort of like admission of guilt. No, though, not really. Like you're just there and you have this looming thing, blaming anyone or anything, trying to do that. Just, I don't think that's really in anyone's sort of vocabulary. Well, anyone around here. I mean, there's certainly other people who blame all sorts of people for all sorts of things, but
do you think when this is all over, would you consider, because I'm thinking, I don't know, I've never lived in a small town, but I'm just imagining what this would like would you guys consider like moving to get away from?
It's hard to say because the likely outcomes of our case, even in situations where if we're found guilty, for example, the likely outcomes of our case involve a strong potential to have no jail time at all. People misunderstand that too. There are statutes in Minnesota that first time drug charges, as long as they're not excuse me, as long as they're not sales charges, there are deferment programs, there are things to do to kind of avoid jail, but you end up on a probation period, and that period can be a long time. So without knowing how long you might be required to remain in the state, it's hard to consider, do you move? Like, do you move within the state? You can't move out of the state, or maybe you can. Maybe we just go ahead and win our case and we're out from under the state's thumb entirely, and then you can move wherever. But until you kind of figure out what timeline you're on, it's hard to make any sort of decisions or even have good discussion about it. Cause like, well, I don't know. We live out here because family's out here.
Right.
So it's like, if you move, you leave family, and that's tough.
Yeah.
Though.
Oh, I know that. My whole family moved out of New York. I'm like literally the only one left. Panda Beller, what's up with the $300 judgment in the Quest defamation case? It's confusing to me. Says,
The $300 judgment, if I believe, is the since my lawyer lost the appeal, then that is a $300. I think it's the appeal filing fee that Montegraph had to do. We're ordered to pay that because the appeal didn't work. So that's the $300 judgment. The case is still ongoing. Our discovery window doesn't close until October. I think we have a discovery conference in a couple days. But yeah, discovery's open till October. So who knows what the fuck the timeline on that thing is. That's just a fun money sink.
Thank you, Panda Beller. I'm trying to address these as like they are relevant to what we're talking about. Okay. From Kate McKnight. Nick, if there are issues with the warrant, why not sign the release for the body cam footage? Nothing but love to Chrissy.
People have a misunderstanding about the body cam footage and a release. I haven't seen a release for the body cam footage. The body cam footage right now, I believe, is considered confidential information as it's part of an investigation. And so under the Minnesota Government Data Practices Act, that body cam footage cannot be released even to me, except as part of discovery. So there isn't like a go sign a release. Like I don't have the ability to authorize the release of the body cam footage, nor does anybody else involved in it at this time. That would be when it moves from confidential information to private information. I believe then, I'm not an expert in this area of law. I've never had to deal with it, but I believe at that point, people could sign releases and have it released. If someone was told that they were going to get access to the body cam footage prior to that occurring, they were probably not told the truth. But there's not like, the state has not sent me a thing like sign this to like release the body cam footage. They've never asked me. It's never been brought up to me in any sort of way. So people have this idea. It's like, oh, Nick, just go sign the release. Like, well, like what release? Sorry, like legitimately, I think people may have misread the statute on how this works, but I don't know. I haven't read the statute either, but no one's presented me with the opportunity to do so.
Okay. Thank you, Kate. Okay. This is, we love push-ups. What's up, push-ups? We only met once, and on that occasion, we talked about the Bible. Are you still a person of faith, praying for those involved, especially kids?
Yeah, of course. Oh, this is, yeah. So people, I did this thing where I sometimes talk about like my musings while reading the Bible or hearing a sermon. And one of the things I consistently say is I don't like doing this because people take it as like a statement about like of authority, or like I'm saying that this is doctrine or this is the truth of the Bible. And it's like, I'm talking with you about my explorations and personal thoughts and musings because I find them interesting to talk about. And so then people like get to this assumption where I'll like pose a hypothetical question. What if this were true? What does that mean for faith? Or what does that mean for my belief system? And then people are like, see, Nick is an apostate. Whatever. It's like, oh my God.
What's an apostate?
Okay. Someone who like used to believe and now doesn't.
Okay.
And it's like, well, no, like it's just me like thinking through things like I do with everything. Like if I'm reading a series of books and I'm going through and I go, well, what does this mean? And this mean? Like, what if this character has this sort of ideas or interactions or motivations, like how does that change the story? Does that impact stuff? Does it teach me anything about the human condition? And I do that with the Bible frequently. I've heard all the Bible stories and all the Bible readings. Grew up Catholic, so I've been through the Bible several times growing up. Now it's just it's an exploration of like, what does it mean, and what does it mean to me and about the people I know. And that's why one of the reasons I've always hesitated again speaking about it publicly is because when you talk on YouTube or wherever, you're like, see, they're saying this is the truth. It's like, no, I'm saying I don't know exactly what the truth is, but what does it mean if this thing were true? It's an exploration. But yes, very much still a person of faith, and that's never faltered ever in my life.
Probably more so now.
I've never lost faith in God. I've lost faith in people a whole bunch of times. That happens, and then you like build back up faith in people, and then they shatter that expectation over and over. I think we all go through that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. There's a couple here about, I'm trying to group the ones that are all similar together. From Derek C, is the pleasure you experience from living a hedonistic lifestyle worth all the trouble?
Well, I don't know. You have to live a hedonistic lifestyle and tell me about the pleasure you experience and decide if it was worth it.
I think he means, dabbling outside your marriage.
Dabbling outside my marriage. Again, there are a lot of assumptions and presumptions that that people have about relationships, about activities, and about like things people do or get into. And the internet is really great at taking bits of information and making sensational stories about them. But, really, I don't know. I don't know what a hedonistic lifestyle is, like at what point you tip into a hedonistic lifestyle. Have I engaged in various hedonistic activities? Well, sure. Yeah. I mean, I think all people do to some degree. And don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying like, well, it's the same as putting too much butter on your popcorn. Like, no, it's like
that I do.
You got to stop that, Chrissy. We talked about this earlier. You got your
like
wardrobe
greasy to the point. Like I want to feel like 2 inches of grease at the bottom of that's how the Alamo draft.
You want to see through the bag. Like you want to see the
Yeah.
popcorn transparent. But it's like, no, I mean, I'm sure I've done things that are crazier than lots of people. Like I'm sure, but like at what point does it tip in to that? I have no idea. So it's like, people have different opinions on that. Here's what I'll say. Worth all the trouble. Is life ever worth all the trouble? That's a decision a lot of people make every day, and some people make it in a negative way.
And you don't have an alternate like universe of you don't know how your life would have gone had this all not happened back in May. Like you don't
No,
there's no world where this doesn't like happen, so you don't know what to compare it to.
Right. You only have the experience that you have. And that's something that everybody, that was actually a huge comfort for me a long time ago. And I'm talking like 18, 19 years ago, 17, might've been 17 years ago. But I lived in the Twin Cities and had been through some employment issues, but I'd gotten to like a really like a good job that I really liked and was paying me really well. And I kind of looked back on the random like shitty employment I'd gone through. And I go, well, I literally wouldn't be here without this that happened. Like this stuff happened. Like I spent a year at Wells Fargo and that was like the worst year ever. This one's rivaling it, but that year just fucking sucked. And it's like, but because of the connections I made at Wells Fargo, I was able to move on to the next job, which is actually a really good job that I really enjoyed with good people. And I had a lot of good time at that job. And so it's like, well, if I hadn't gone through this shitty part, I wouldn't be here. And I don't know what it would have been like. Maybe I would have had a way better job, or maybe I would have been homeless. I don't know. So you can't like sit and dwell on.
And maybe
on
this, and maybe like the going outside your marriage thing, this could have all still happened even regardless of going outside of your marriage. So.
Yeah. Again, the going outside of the marriage thing is just it's such a complicated topic, because I think people have a lot of misconceptions about what happened at Rekieta. And, like that's fine. I'm not inclined to talk about it. and people get to have their own perceptions, I guess. But you know, they're always just going to be their perceptions.
This one is about the tattoo from Garfield's Bizarre Adventure. Also, Nick, I saw the pics of you getting tattoos with your mistress. Again, they were not matching tattoos. It sucks that you spend time with April while Kayla is. No, I think you were all there. You said you were all there at the tattoo.
Yeah, we were all at the tattoo convention together. It's great. See, people, again, this is misconception thing. Like, people believe that there's some sort of mistress thing going on. And it's like, we're all friends. Like, Kayla and I are married, and April is our friend and our friend. Like, April and Kayla have their own friendship.
So there's no more like hooking up happening.
People are like, well, people think that like there's, that's a loaded question. Like, because that presumes something was going on prior. That, again, like, I'm not inclined to talk about any of this stuff in that way, because it's not out there for people. But what people need to know is that there's, like, we are spotted out in public together because we are all like friends.
Yeah.
Like, it's so like these labels that people try to use, or I guess concepts that get loaded into those labels, are often what drive like their opinions about things. But again, without a grasp of the factual scenario, people are left to make their assumptions, and I'm not inclined to correct them. Doesn't really matter to me. But it's people should understand that, like, if you say, like you were mentioning earlier, like dabbling outside of your marriage, it's like, well, that assumes a whole lot of variables that aren't true. And so it's like, I don't know. We all hang out. We're all friends. We're stuck in life together in this weird way where we're in limbo because of the state, and the internet gets to just use us as their punching bag. And that's fine. Like, at some level, that's what I signed up for, you know, is to be in the public eye.
Yeah. And it sucks because it's a lot of personal information is getting out that you may not have necessarily ever wanted to talk about. Like, I'm sure it's not, nobody wants to talk about their adult sexual relations. So I can see why that's uncomfortable.
Well, yeah. And there's a lot of falsehoods that are out there too, that you just really, like, again, being hampered by the fact that you have a pending criminal matter, you can't address them, and you can't address the people who spread them sometimes. So,
anime. I think, are you still sleeping with April? Yes or no?
Am I still sleeping with April? Wow.
That assumes that they were sleeping together.
It's a lot of assumptions there. Again, the nature of my sleeping arrangements are confusing even to me. Sometimes I'm on a couch.
Okay. Sam V, join Discord GG Bergtopia for more Rekieta. Oh, right. Thank you, Sam. Brandon Muse, Nick, are there any upcoming high profile cases you're covering, and can Chrissy be a guest commentator?
I haven't been. The cool thing about being under the state's watchful eye and thumb is, like, it makes it hard to really give a shit about stuff you're going to do, because you don't always know what your schedule's going to be. I really want to cover the Courtney Clenny OnlyFans stabbing. I think that's still coming up. The Sarah Boone trial, she's I think she went through like 7 or 8 lawyers, and now she's going to have to proceed without one. So that'll be funny. But other than that, I don't know. I'm looking for a trial, but I'm also looking at my days. It's like you wake up, and again, it's hard to plan a trial stream when you might have to go do a drug test in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say.
Can't you just do it under your desk, just in a little cup or something?
No, you have to go in. They have to watch you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like people have like a
job. I would
they'll have
that.
Like fake bladders or whatever that they can bring it, like little, or they're like,
so they're looking at your dick, like they're watching you pee.
It's cool. It's there's like the toilet, and then there's all these mirrors on the wall around the toilet. So then the guy, hey, what's up, Brent? he has to stand there and like watch you like pee, and they
Do they
like
look in your butt? Like, are they
no,
going in there? Okay.
no, they're not. But like you know, you have to like whip it out, and they just they're sitting there like he's like
Are you
awkwardly
helicoptering?
on the side, like looking. For people who are like nervous peers, it's really tough. Me, I don't care. Like I'll just
Wow.
pee wherever.
Okay.
I'll pee right now, like Gavin.
Oh, he does do that. Okay. Let's see. This is okay from Flimsy Greenberg. This might not be something you can talk about. It's common knowledge that you stole Aaron's wife and cucked him beyond all recognition. Is there any truth to the story that your wife Kayla was his soulmate? I'll hang up and listen.
As stated by me several million times, Aaron is his own man. He can say whatever he wants. I hope he makes $1 million. I'm not talking about him or anything he has said or claimed. There's several reasons for that should be pretty obvious to people, but I'm not going to get into any of the claims of Aaron Imhold.
We will not be talking about Aaron. Hold on. Mark of
I
Reality.
just can't, guys. Sorry.
The theater concession kid asked me if I wanted butter in my popcorn. I told her that I'm not that special. Just give me the same yellow grease you put in everyone else's. Yeah, I don't even think it's butter. I think it's just vegetable oil.
It's yeah. When I worked at a movie theater, which was a long time ago. I was 16 or 17. Anyway, so that was how long ago was that? 25 years ago. Even then, that one had it was just grease. It was like a vegetable oil, some butter flavorings, xanthan gum for anti-caking and stuff like that. But there was a theater I went to not too long ago that had real butter for popcorn.
What?
And I was like, whoa. I wish I remembered where it was because it was good.
Okay, that's incredible. XM202. Wow, how is Elvis? And have you seen him lately? I don't even know.
He's good.
Do you know an Elvis? Okay, that's the Elvis that we all know. Let's see. From Red Fox Mad, I used to work in a drug and alcohol treatment centers. People on drugs are dangerous and unpredictable. We learn the same self-defense as prison guards and street cops.
Cool. Of course, cool story, man.
Ooh, I could never do that.
Chrissy, have you ever been around people on drugs?
Yes, for sure.
Were they dangerous and unpredictable?
No. More just like talked a lot. Although I haven't been on anybody, like I've been around people on coke and weed and vapes.
It's weird because like there's a stigma that gets attached to things, but I mean, most people who have been out to a bar or a club have been around people on drugs who are not dangerous. Like you just have, and you wouldn't know. But you know, people who work in a drug and alcohol treatment center, you're dealing with a specific type of person who's on drugs or alcohol, and they do get dangerous and unpredictable. Absolutely. But that's like working at a prison and saying all black people are bad because the overwhelming majority of a lot of prison populations is black. It's like, well,
and it's not all, just most.
Damn it. We do a little racism around here. No, but it's yeah, if your experience is with this subset of the population, of course you're gonna run into people who are particularly more dangerous. Yeah. If that's how you're filling your anecdotal experience, right?
Okay. Bink, 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 bink. Fletcher boy, Nick, I'll send lawyers, guns, and money to get you out of this.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Fletcher boy. Let's see. Oh my God. There's a lot that are like kind of overlapping on the same things here. What is interesting? Alan Tanasi. Nick, when are you going to grow a Jack Murphy beard? I don't know. I don't think I could see you with a dual colored. I mean,
I don't like the big beard anyway. I think men successfully lied to themselves that the big giant beard thing was like a thing that women liked, and women were like, oh God, yeah, it's so cool, we get to go along with this.
It's cool looking. I just don't want to interact with it. Like I don't want to kiss someone that has that. I don't want someone down. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'll look at it from afar. I don't want to be involved with that person.
You don't want like a brown carpet leading into the
My own carpet. No.
Yeah. What if it gets tangled? That's not good. It's not good at all.
Yep. That's why you got to just get the pubes out of the equation. Cecil, hello to two of my favorite peeps. You both look great. Happy to see Nick looking healthy.
Hey, thanks, buddy. Good to see you.
We love Cecil. Oh my gosh, it's Kiki. Hi, Chrissy. Hi, Nick. Tell April I said hi. Aaron sucks.
How's it going, Keanu?
I have been hearing a lot of Aaron sucks from Keanu lately. Let's
Again,
see.
I'm not talking about it.
Brandon Lucas, Nick, do you as a Christian approve of my consensually non-monogamous marriage?
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, you got
it's not my place to figure out like your life at all. And if you're looking to me to like figure out and determine what your life choices are, you should really find someone better to do that than me.
Yeah.
Just a dude.
Someone other than a stranger. Angle of elevation. So many bad faith purity cult LARPers in this chat who feel like it's okay to falsely judge a person by their falls, not by their ability to rise, change, and grow.
Ooh,
That's
I like
nice.
rising and growing.
I'm a riser, not a grower. Thank you, Angle. Who has April's credit cards? I didn't even mean to click on that one. I don't think that's a serious.
No, that was they're on the seizure list from the house. So the state does.
Oh God. I would hate that. Mark of reality. What was the old trope about the guilty or guilty question? Are you still beating your wife? What?
Oh, it's
okay. I get it now. Like when you say still, it means yeah.
And the answer is just as hard as I was before.
Okay. This is also not. It's hard to know because a lot of these I don't feel like are serious.
So it's fine by me. Like either way, seriously, it's okay.
Okay.
I'm a big boy.
Okay. Good. Garfield's bizarre adventure. What hurt more, Nick, when the government took away your kids or when they took away your drugs? Also, relax, buddy. Take another drink. You earned it.
Yeah, it's that's a funny one. The government taking away your kids is one of the most painful things you could possibly experience, and I don't wish it on pretty much anyone. So, I'm glad that our situation's funny to you. It isn't funny to me, especially because I know my kids were never in any danger from anything or anybody in our household. So,
bad Garfield. Bad Garfield.
No, it's not bad Garfield.
It's for you.
It's fine. It's just like at some point it's like, okay, thanks.
Right. Sam wants to know if you think I'm handsome.
Yeah, I think you're handsome, Chrissy.
Pure love Nick from Aussie. I guess that's Australia.
How did Sam Loves Boobs get two different profile pictures? That was amazing.
Maybe two accounts.
Maybe.
Yeah. Flimsy Greenberg. Adam, name this episode Cocaine Shampoo.
It's because you did the dry shampoo thing earlier.
Okay, of course.
It comes in spray bottles now.
The sprays really are better than like the powdered version. Let's see.
You're talking dry shampoo.
Dry shampoo, yeah, you can it's like basically talcum powder.
Oh,
I've
literally
put it just on your roots.
The only dry shampoo I've ever seen is the spray kind. I've not seen this alleged
superior.
Totally not cocaine dry shampoo. I should have said I have. I should have used that for my defense. Damn it.
All blunt. Thank you for the orange boy. My first ever episode of FNT was when the two of you were guests before Chrissy became a host a few years ago. Both of you were amazing and hilarious, and I've been a huge fan of both of you ever since. Oh, wow. Thank you, Paul. It's rare that there's a positive comment on the super chats. Thank you, Paul. Just mixing it up from the barrage of negativity. Okay. Nick looks like a strung out Brian Henson. I don't know who Brian Henson is.
I'm gonna
Thank
look
you,
him up.
Whitney.
I usually get John Kavanaugh.
Oh.
Have you ever seen him? He's
fat.
John. Wait, John Kavanaugh?
No, I'm thinking of the other Kavanaugh.
I kind of see the Brian Henson in like that'll be in 20 years or so. You know, John Kavanaugh is whatchamacallit's trainer, Conor McGregor's trainer.
Okay.
Here. Let me see. Oh, not that one. God. Conor McGregor. Oh, I spelled it wrong. It's Kavanaugh with a K. Let me see. I'll pull up one of the images of him here. I guess. I don't know. I sometimes see it more than others. Oh, here's a good one. He's obviously much more muscular than me. But here, if you like share the screen.
Better not be porn.
Oh, here.
Ooh.
This one over here.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, like if I put on like 40 pounds of muscle.
It looks like you in Camelot.
Yeah, there you go.
Jesus, that's really. I said once that you looked like Frylock, and I stand by that.
Frylock? Yeah, okay. I'll take it.
From Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
I am black, so.
In the chat, I am going by the super chat. I'm going like sort of higher to lower. So that's the priority level. Jim tells you, oh, what's up, Jim? Thanks for the orange boy. Hi, Chrissy. Hi, Nick. Maybe we can talk about something really important. Copyright abuse. Have either of you seen what's been happening with the Olympic opening ceremonies? They're striking anyone who shows it on X or YouTube. That's so interesting because I was going to talk about that because they're doing all this satanic crap.
Yeah, as far as like limiting it to I haven't seen the satanic stuff. You'd kind of mentioned it prior to the show, and I was like, no, I haven't been following. But one thing I learned from I think it was the Winter Olympics 2 years ago is, or it might've been 4 years. I don't remember, but whichever one it was, if you show anything, NBC has a deal with YouTube and you get fucking struck immediely. You get struck. What is that's satanically large.
I know. And I think that might even be
You're looking at a hostess cake. Like, what is zebra cakes?
Oh my God, look at that. See it like, did it black out on me? Wow.
Whoa.
That's so strange. I was trying to play it off Twitter. This media has been disabled in response to a report by the copyright owner. Holy cow.
Yeah. It's I remember because I played like a brief clip of something. It was a celebration or something like that. It wasn't even the sport. It was something that happened afterwards, and I added a shitload of commentary, and they still just upheld the strike. It was like, okay, damn.
Wow. The Olympic torch being taken by a couple of flamers.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's the gayest thing I have seen since looking in the mirror.
And up both of their asses, and especially his.
Oh. God.
And wow. Why? I don't know. I don't know why people are just finding out about drag queens and like obsessed with them. I guess they're really having a moment right now.
I think drag queens are literally always having a moment. Like that's the hallmark of a drag queen.
Yeah, they never stop. They can't take a breath. Olympics is now deleting their own videos of it. Wow. Probably because they're getting so much pushback. Probably because they are probably trying to, I don't know, cancel the Olympics. Can people even do that?
I don't know. I think Mount Vesuvius did that one time.
Olympics have gone full Hunger Games. Ooh, whoa, boy. Okay. Fletcher boy, thanks for the 10. Nick, Chrissy and Megan Fox covering the Sarah Boone trial. I'll gladly pay to watch that.
That could be very fun.
Thank you, Fletcher boy. Mark of reality. I hate this guilty until proven innocent mentality that has been shoved into internet culture. It's toxic, and 99% of the time, it's total bullshit.
Yeah, I mean,
but it is more entertaining, I guess.
It's look, I go both ways on it. Obviously, I'm biased towards I want people to give me the benefit of the doubt or whatever. But I also realize that, and I've said this a trillion times. It's weird. It doesn't matter how many times you say this. People are always like, see, he's trying to say this. Like, no. The people out there can only make moral judgments, value judgments, character judgments based on the information they have. The hard part about being in the criminal justice system specifically is that if you say something that then interferes with your case, the negatives are the stripping of your liberty, right? Like you could go to prison. And so you have to just let things marinate. And you just have to. Like for me, I've been remiss to talk about much of anything up until recently, as kind of the schedule for our kids coming back has been more set down, because you don't want the state taking something way out of context and trying to use that against you. You want to make sure that you have a clear set of expectations, and then that you're fulfilling those expectations so that you're on the right timeline to do what you need. So I've been hesitant to talk about any of the stuff involving the kids' cases outside of what's public. And a lot of it shouldn't be public under Minnesota law, but hey, once it happens, it happens. So, I've been hesitant to talk about it. And what I always say is like the trade-off of that is me focusing on my main priorities, which was first getting kids back, and second, protecting my liberty through the criminal case. Like having to do that means that I have to sacrifice part of any sort of public image. You have to just let people make judgments about you. And you can't be mad that they don't have all the information, because unless you're going to give it to them, what else are they supposed to do? So like the concept of innocent until proven guilty is a concept that's valuable. And I always believe we should uphold that, but it doesn't preclude people from making moral judgments about someone else. And you can't really bitch about it too much if people just, go based off of the information that they have. So it sucks reading a bunch of shit that isn't true, or reading people say that you're like really terrible, and you're like, really, like, okay, but what do you do about it otherwise? You just have to wait.
It's fun to jump to conclusions,
like that game in Office Space.
That was a jump to conclusions, Matt.
Yeah. It's like, did anybody actually ever make that thing?
I would love to have one. Okay, yes, they did a trans mockery of The Last Supper. That's what it was. And I keep trying to find, if you just Google trans Olympics or search that into Twitter. Okay, here's one. Let's say, yeah, and they just zoom out, and it's yeah,
like it's just not even pretty.
It's just a gay tableau. Putting the
Why are they moving in slow-mo? It's not in slow-mo, is it?
They think they're being artistic, I think.
Oh, they did a fast thing there.
Yeah, so they look like they're underwater, and she's just like, I'm hungry.
She looks like she belongs underwater as part of her natural habitat. It's like
I love watching videos of fat women underwater losing their breath and then having to swim really fast to the surface.
I feel like they would have to try really hard to be underwater for like a long period of time, because fat tends to be
easier. Like if you swim down to the bottom and you let out a bunch of air, it's easier for you to stay down there, and you're not as likely to like float back up.
I feel like air is the least part of a fat person's volume. Like I feel like their lungs stay roughly the same size, and like eventually that doesn't affect buoyancy as much as just the unsaturated fat cells that are buoying them up.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Okay, this has to do with God, a lot of these are like very irrelevant. From John Cannon, do you feel guilty trying to ruin Eric July for content purposes when you found out he offered to pay your rehab costs?
Wait, he offered to pay my rehab costs? That's kind of funny. That was a good move.
Very generous.
Yeah, it was very generous. I don't know what my rehab costs are at this point. No one's asked me to go to rehab at all. And I don't, again, a lot of people have weird ideas about how things work or should work, and it just doesn't work that way. But I never tried to ruin Eric July's career at all, actually. In fact, I just said I don't like the art several times, and he came on the show, and we had a discussion, and he said things that I think didn't help him, but I didn't want him to. It wasn't something I desired. And this the funny thing is, so my statement, I hope they make $1 million, has been turned into like this super negative thing, because I've said it about a couple people, and then we've become not friends. But I always meant it when I said I hope the Rippaverse makes $1 billion, which I literally did. I still do. I like independent creation, and I always said I don't care if it's even good. It's irrelevant to me, because I think people invest in the creator, and that's the whole point of the indie community. It's like I'm buying a book from someone I like and likes me. And that to me, that was always kind of the rebellion against Marvel and Disney, is as these big companies are sitting out there telling you you're a piece of shit, but then please buy the stuff that you like because you love it. There are these other people saying, hey, I don't think you're a piece of shit, actually. Like, and I have this book, and you can watch me, and like, you can laugh along with me, and we can laugh at stuff, and then you can maybe buy my comic. I love that model. I think it's great. And somewhere that got lost. I disagreed with some of the stuff with Eric and Riley, and I still do, but I don't hate Eric or anything like that. If he offered to pay my rehab costs, it's very presumptuous, very funny, but it's maybe a nice gesture, I guess. I had not heard that until now. That's good.
So you're nowhere near needing rehab.
No, shockingly, again, as part of all this, they make you do things like chemical use assessments, where they have someone go through and determine if you require like services, and rehab just isn't on the menu. I know it's really hard to believe, but yeah, there isn't rehab on the menu at present.
Okay. From Garfield's Bizarre Adventure, can Nick explain? Okay, this has to do with Ethan Ralph, who I don't, that's not even relevant.
Clipper.
Clipper.
First of all, I didn't send Ethan Ralph to do anything. I have no idea about the Alyssa Clips stuff. I heard someone say something like Ralph said that he went after Alyssa Clips on my behalf. I have no idea about any of that. I don't send anybody out to anything. I've also never demanded Alyssa to take down anything. I asked her to take down a stream clip a long time ago, and just said, hey, can you please take this down? And then she did, and then she put up another clip of a different stream of the same thing, and I said, well, okay. But I've never copyright claimed her or anything. I actually, when I asked her, I said, I'm not going to be a dick and strike you or claim you or anything like that. I'm just asking if you would please take that down. And she did. But like I said, she put another clip up from another show covering the same thing, like right after. And it was like, well, okay. But yeah, there's never been a demand. I've never threatened her. I actually specifically unthreatened. It's like, look, I'm not going to do anything about it. You don't have to. Just asking you to.
Okay. From Slow Mo Savage Nick, do you want to clarify? Did you say bleach is just as dangerous as cocaine?
I said bleach can be far more dangerous than lots of controlled substances that are out there. I didn't make any specific claims. But yeah, well, kids drink
much
bleach.
Harder. It's much harder to snort.
Yeah.
You'll drown.
It's easier to drink, though. Ask kids what they're better at, snorting or drinking a substance. Like, honestly, think about it for a second. I know it's uncomfortable, but like snorting a substance and drinking a liquid are two different things. Kids drink bleach and they die from it. Like that happens.
But I guess you'd have to go under a sink, open a childproof container, and then drink it, versus like if there's just a substance on a table and it's just there, you could go touch it.
Yeah, again, that's two big assumptions, right? One
Yeah.
is the assumption that the one substance is out and available. The other is the assumption that bleach is not out and available, that it is in a childproof container, that that container is closed, that that container is under a sink, that there's no fault in it, that there's no holes in the container. Like, generally speaking, we do keep a lot of things in our houses, we collectively, that are extremely toxic to people. We actually don't really keep bleach in our house. We don't use bleach as a cleaner. We use other things than bleach, but it's like we don't. It's a risky substance to keep around. So it's I know it's again, you have to make assumptions to get to a thing, and when you make those assumptions, you start adding facts to the situation. It's like,
Yeah.
is a childproof container of bleach properly stored more dangerous than a pile of cocaine sitting on a table? Well, no. But that assumes those two things are the variables we're talking about, right?
And only one gets your whites white.
That's how Michael Jackson did it. He probably snorted bleach.
BYB, did you and Aaron do gay stuff together with a Baldo? I feel like you probably can't answer that.
I can't talk about him. Sorry.
John Kristen,
yes.
just here for the lol cow that Nick has become. Would you
Cool.
consider yourself a lol cow?
I don't think a lol cow can properly consider themselves a lol cow. So in the interest of remaining a lol cow, I'll say no.
Sam loves boof. Sounds sus. Thank you, Sam. Anime sucks. Copen Sneeds. Can Nick please give his opinion on Kiwi Farms user MN Public Records who always cucks his streams?
Very interesting Kiwi Farms account. They post documents and seem to have access to those documents before anybody knows they're around. Some of them are public and some of them aren't. I have no idea. Like, speculating on it is really weird. So,
okay. John Kristen, did Nick please himself on stream, or is he getting a hawk tour?
God, I wish both of those were true. That's the fun part of the internet, because I could tell you what I was actually doing, but it might ruin the mystery.
What were you doing?
I was falling asleep and
Okay.
passing out, and I had a wound on my leg, and I was literally pressing on it to get the pain response to try and stay awake. I wish I was jerking off.
Okay.
Really wish I was jerking off, but I had drank so much at that point, I don't know it would have made a difference.
Do you feel like you had a rock bottom moment through any of this, or?
You always hope you hit rock bottom, right? Like, you always hope that that's happened and not something worse coming. So yeah. Sure.
Okay, that's good.
But Daniel, man, that was I drank so much on that stream. Like, I found a clip of it, or a re-upload of it the other day, and someone categorized like all the drinks I took with timestamps, and I was like, holy fuck, that's a lot of liquor.
Wow.
That was a lot of alcohol.
Had you drank that much on a stream before? Like, you thought you were used to it, or?
I don't know. I don't remember a lot of that stream. I was very, very drunk. Like, it was not a great show. It's in a bad place, generally speaking, and you shouldn't stream drunk, probably as a rule, but you really shouldn't when you're having a bad day. So that one, but yeah, when I was reading the comment with like all the timestamps of all the sips of alcohol, I was like, holy fuck, I drank fast and I drank hard. And I think it was Elijah Craig single barrel, which is like 60% alcohol too.
Woo.
Yeah.
Are
Where Nick
you
get his
cup?
cup?
Like, do you guys puke?
I usually don't, actually. I very rarely throw up from drinking. I don't remember a lot of that stream. And I don't remember a lot of that night, but I don't think I threw up.
I remember I was doing a Yellow Flash stream like a year and a half ago, and we were supposed to be taking quarter measure shots for whatever super chats, but I was taking full shots of liquor, and I puked. Like, I puked
Did you do it on stream? Like, did you like turn the camera off and like grab a bucket? And,
I think I think we were finished, and then it was really bad. I'm so bad with hard alcohol. Like
I've gotten, well, I obviously haven't been able to drink for a while now. I had gotten pretty good at like getting to a point of intoxication or whatever, and then just kind of not going further. But that day it was like I drank fast too. Like if you go back and watch, I think I had 3 shots in the first like 5 minutes.
woohoo!
And then it was like downhill from there. So I don't know. It was a lot more than normal, but like the throwing up for me is always just a matter of if you're awake long enough for the nausea to hit.
Ugh. Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. It was too much liquor, like on a stream. I have no problem admitting that. And it's part of the reason why I was like finally saying, maybe I shouldn't drink on stream. Maybe I shouldn't do that at all. Probably a good thing to do. But yeah.
If you could have one type of drink for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Wait, if I could or couldn't?
Could.
If you could have one type of drink for the rest of my life,
Mm-hmm.
that's the only thing you can drink.
I mean, you can have water to stay alive, but like
water and one other drink.
An adult, beverage.
Oh, an adult beverage. Oh, it.
What were you gonna say? Orange juice?
No, like if I have one drink plus if I have water and one thing, it's like, well, I wouldn't pick alcohol because like I would probably pick sweet tea, honestly. Like because that's what I like to just drink.
What a boring answer, Nick.
I know, but I was going pragmatically. But if you're saying like what fun drink to have, it'd be Kentucky Owl Last Batch Rye No. 4.
How specific?
Very specific.
I would have Mambo No. 5. No, I would have water. Coconut water would be my unfun other choice.
Ew.
It's
so
good.
Me.
No, you got to get the right kind.
There is no right kind of
there is a right
coconut
kind.
water.
Disgusting. There are some that taste sour and icky, and then there's some that are like really like creamy and delicious. I would do
creamy is not what I want to label my water as. That's maybe there's a difference between you and I.
There's not cream in the water, but it's like a delightful.
Maybe,
it has
maybe I'm not as gay as I think. I don't know.
It's very gay. Shoot. Well, I like a Cosmo sometimes. I like a spiked seltzer, but God, I really haven't been drinking much.
Yeah, you kind of have like a reason not to.
Yeah, it's putting a real damper.
So someone asked me where I got this mug. That was one of the super chats. I got it at Anime Matsuri, this place called Pecos Pete's. It's a sweet tea stand, and when you buy one of the mugs, you can refill it. Like you get to refill it the whole day, and then any day you come back, it's like $2 anytime in the future. So if you go to a Pecos Pete's like stand at any event, you can have all day sweet tea for like $2.
Oh, that sounds fun. Fletcher boy. Oh my God, someone got drunk at home, clutching my pearls.
Some people really don't like that.
Okay. I'm gonna blow through all these little ones here. Is Nick getting a cut for this humiliation ritual? Oh gosh. Is that what it is?
Yes. I've decided I am getting a cut.
Oh man. Okay. The moist but droopy long crotch. Chrissy, you should go on the Kino Casino. They can explain everything about this child abuser. He's straight up lying already.
Bastions of truth and correct facts they are.
Garfield again. What are Nick's thoughts on Katie did looking at images of bestiality? She is a huge supporter of yours, Nick. Will you invite her on a stream? What?
Who the fuck is Katie did?
I don't even know who that is.
Okay. Will I invite her on a stream? I don't know. Maybe. Would it be an interesting conversation? And images of bestiality hentai? God.
That sounds icky.
But at least it wasn't kids, I guess.
Fletcher boy, I caught a shroom charge. Testing lab screwed up. Make them prove their case.
I mean, that's what everybody should do with the state, is make them prove their case.
That makes sense. Sam loves boobs. Read super chats. He's repeating himself. Ah. Okay. Garfield again. Nick, what are your thoughts on your buddy EVS saying your kids are lazy and spoiled? Do you agree with EVS saying that your kids are incompetent? Oh God.
I'm sure my kids are probably spoiled in some ways. Yeah. Lazy, I don't know. Lazy in ways that a parent wants their kids to do some things sometimes and they don't do them. Yeah, I think that's called having a kid.
Yeah.
That EVS said it in a comedic way. I don't really take any offense from it at all.
Okay. All right. Texican Marine. Nick, I also grew up in the mean streets of H-Town.
Hell yeah.
What set did you claim? And do you know any gang signs? If you're still writing dirty, just wink.
No. I was always the scared minority. That's what I literally was, like the scared only white kid around. So it was cool.
What kind of white are you?
Polish.
Oh.
Mostly.
So how many of your people can screw in a light bulb?
None of them can do it.
None. You're 100% Polish?
No. I'm probably, I think about a quarter to a half, somewhere between a quarter and a half Polish. And then there's some just a European mutt after that.
Okay.
French, German. Like I'm at war with myself at all times.
The Axis powers. Flimsy Greenberg, Nick. A lot of people say Aaron is a broke, goofy, lying, manipulative, emotional man child with a horrible sense of humor and poor genetics. Comment. I don't think you can.
Not talking about Aaron. Sorry, you guys have to make your own determinations about him.
Determine his genetics by yourselves. Push-ups. April, run for your life. I don't.
Go, run.
Wendy H. When are you going to build our Lego with MLS in Valhalla? Hi, Nick.
I would love to. It's when my schedule lines up with them doing a show. Again, my schedule gets really stupidly unpredictable now. But hopefully that'll level off really soon. Once the kids are back at home, things change quite a bit because it's not scheduling around a visit. It's just having life like normal. But
good. Yeah. I'm glad they're coming back home soon. 30 Deeds. Nick, what is your go-to DQ grill and chill order?
This is stemming from that being watched in the community thing. Like one day someone had sent a chat in like they had seen me at like DQ. And it was like, Jesus Christ, like calm the fuck down. So I've actually had to go to Dairy Queen a couple times recently, and every time I eat their ice cream, my stomach gets wrecked. So I'm not sure what's up with that. So now it's just fries and a drink. I hate going to Dairy Queen.
Because dairy is not great for human beings, just generally.
No.
Garfield again. Nick has stated he wants all trials to be televised and fully transparent. Will Nick advocate for the television treatment of his own potential trial?
It's not really up to me on whether or not the trial is televised and fully transparent. I've talked about it a lot, and I do think that transparency is the default mode that we should go for in these things. So I do think there are places where we want to protect certain people or certain aspects of trials for sure. I've never actually said fully transparent. For example, testimony of minors about, things that may have happened to them in cases of like child sexual abuse and stuff like that. I don't really think that that's a thing that needs to be televised, but all of that is premised on the basic concept that people used to be skeptical of the state. And that was the whole purpose of transparency of the courts. It comes from the English Star Court system, the Star Chamber, where you went to court under the king's law, and the king's lawyers made their case against you, and they made it in private, and no one got to know what or why. The reason was not to protect the person. The reason was to protect the accusations of the crown. The crown's accusations were not able to be measured by the public. When we created the American legal system, the idea was that accusations and trials would be open and notorious so the public could make sure that tyranny wasn't happening. That's kind of changed lately, but I still believe in the underlying concept. Again, the nature of how law has changed and how sort of accusations have changed over the years, there are certain places where maybe it's not appropriate. Again, like if a 5-year-old is testifying about sexual abuse, like we probably don't want that to be just broadcast to the world and to have that follow the child around, right? Like that. I just think that maybe is one of those reasonable accommodations we can make, but generally speaking, sure.
Yeah. Okay. From Sean, just joining the stream. Sorry if you've said it already, but how did this start? How the hell did this get to a warrant? I'm hoping you beat this, Nick.
Well, you can find out how it got to a warrant by reading the affidavit that was filed for the warrant request, and you can make your own determination as to how it got to a warrant. I can't really comment on that too much, but remember that the entirety of how a warrant gets approved has to be contained within the affidavit for the warrant, and that affiant signs that affidavit and executes it under oath. So if they misrepresent things or fail to represent things in there, it is technically perjury. But you'll have to determine how that got to a warrant at all. And I would encourage people to read the affidavit and ask themselves the basic question: what about the affidavit? And this is just a good exercise in general. What about the affidavit says that they will find evidence of a crime on the date that the warrant is executed? And if you find that they've met their burden, then the warrant is good. If you find they haven't met their burden, you have to ask why. But those are things that you guys got to do for yourselves. I can't tell you the answers to that.
Tedpool says, you know why it doesn't matter if my home is searched? I don't use drugs and there's none in my house.
You know what's interesting is that you may not know what's in your house.
Woohoo! That's why you got to do a spring cleaning.
You may not know what cops bring into your house either.
You think cops brought stuff into your house?
I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
Generally speaking, people are like, oh, I'll consent to a search. Everything's fine. Ask a bunch of people about how well that went for them, because there's plenty of stories out there where they didn't know that something was in their house or their car or on their persons, and they go to jail for it. Like,
yeah,
don't ever consent to a search. Like that, legally speaking, there is no benefit to consenting to a search. If the cops want to search you, they will, and you should not resist them, right? Go home alive or go to jail alive. Don't die, but don't consent. Make them do their job. Make them have probable cause. People consent to searches that the cops did not have justification for all the time. Some people get burned. If you've lent your car to anybody, are you 100% sure your car doesn't have something in it? You're probably not.
If it's me borrowing your car is going to have more gas when I return it to you, because that's how I roll.
Yeah, it's but if people have been in your house, are you 100% certain they didn't leave something in your house? Do you know? Is always a good question, especially because things like possession crimes, this person's referring to having drugs or whatever. Possession crimes require the intent to possess the drug. You have to know and intend to possess the substance that is identified as a controlled substance. The cops have to prove that. And so if you consent to a search and they find it, well, I mean, then you're defending yourself. If you don't consent to a search and they don't have the cause for it, then, hopefully they don't do it. But again, cops will always search you if they want to. You should not resist that, but you should not consent to it, because that may be a great defense for you going forward.
Okie doke. All right, I'm going to blow through these. Brandon Lucas, are you Christian? I think you answered that already. Yes, you are.
I am. Always
Red Fox, how's the ruble contract coming along, Nick? Did you come to an agreement yet? Ruble is the future of streaming.
Ruble? That sounds fun. I don't know what ruble is. I assume you mean Rumble. And did we come to an agreement yet? Well, unfortunately, the details of my agreement are not public.
Okay, Philip Vecchio, as a Sicilian, I appreciate anyone with a big nose. Wow. Red Fox again. Well, thank you. David, 8 bacon, so donating to save my soul. Nick, stay clean, brother. I still love you. Peace be upon you both. Nick, bring back movie night.
Can't do movie nights on Twitch anymore. They got rid of the watch party function on Twitch, which is gay.
Boo. Kirkland, F. Mary, and Alex Stein, Aaron M. Holt, Kyle Rittenhouse. Oh,
well, I can't answer this question. You included a person I can't talk about.
Oh,
I'd marry Kyle Rittenhouse. He's lovable.
I'd probably have to marry Alex Stein.
You don't want to marry?
And had to have sex with Kyle Rittenhouse. There, I did it.
Don't say they have to. That's rude.
Redbox Nick, are you gonna do St. Cloud State University to see Donald J. Trump today?
I heard he was gonna be here, and I was like, oh god, that sounds hilarious. Probably not though.
Oh, okay.
I don't normally go to things like that because I don't want to get stabbed.
Yeah.
Not that I would particularly get stabbed. I mean, just anybody. Like, political things have become very tense.
Yeah, true. Mark of Reality, where do we get Nick's merch these days?
You have to buy it from a man who knows how to get things, like Morgan Freeman. That's a Shawshank Redemption joke. Sorry.
Sharmuda, was the Baldo taken into evidence?
No, I hid it in my butthole.
They'll never look there.
Kirkland. They didn't, Chrissy. They didn't look in my butthole.
I'd be like, you sure you don't want to look in there? You don't want to take a peek?
It's wide.
There's a whole bunch of stuff up there. Kirkland, when we were drinking, you gave me Marlon Brando from Apocalypse Now vibes.
I'll take it.
Chris, does Nick still Baldo April?
Again, that still word is in there. Implying that
still, right, still.
Wow.
Tried to trick you. Garfield again, will Nick be willing to do an interview with Pod Awful? I hear you know him.
He'll have to talk to me about it. I'm sure if Jesse wants to interview me, he'll reach out at some point. He usually does.
Philip Becchio, people make it seem like Nick is in the Secret Service protecting Obama in Colombia. Also, I lost 150 pounds. I appreciate Nick's fat shaming. God bless.
Hey, man, keep it up. Not your weight, though.
Goldie FX, if you could only use one adult toy for the rest of your life, which would it be? Hitachi Magic Wand. That's an easy answer for me.
Cheating. There aren't like good guys.
How is that cheating? It's an adult toy.
I know.
Because anything that vibrates, you think is cheating?
Yeah.
Really?
No. I have no idea.
I haven't in a while. It died, and I can't find the charger. It died like
whoa. That's not an original. Then the originals are hardwired. There's no chargers, no battery.
I have to recharge mine. I don't plug it into the wall.
Yeah. See, no, that's not the real one. Then you got to get the real
one. It sounded like an old boat. I had to retire it. I had to retire old Bessie.
Thing winds up. I think if you could only use one adult toy for the rest of your life, which one would it be? I have no idea. There aren't really good adult toys for guys. Like they're
no. There's the thermos with the vagina in it.
I don't have one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, the flashlight thing.
You just take it out and then use it for coffee.
Right. And you pre-creamed or whatever.
Imagine you just use a flashlight for coffee. Like you just drink out of you put your mouth on a snatch.
No, you got to get the mouth insert for it so it feels better. It's like, I'm just kissing the drink.
Like, no, I get that's not what that's for.
With the caveat that I don't have one, I think I would go with the flashlight. Like, it seems like it'd be good. It seems like it, but I don't have one, so I don't know.
Phantom Mercenary. What is up with all these YouTube ads of Kamala Harris hitting me up for money? I had to watch 2 back to back just to get into the chat. Oh God, they're throwing so much money at her right now. It's insane. She's just the establishment installation du jour.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. So one of the things you're going to notice is when you get to channels based on the demographics that are usual for the channel, you're going to get political ads targeted very specifically. If you have a channel that is like largely 35 to 75-year-old people, you're going to get a ton of Trump ads. You're going to. If you have a younger demographic, you're probably going to get a lot of Kamala Harris ads.
Moist but droopy long crotch. Once you have children, drugs and getting wasted all the time needs to stop. Nick, you don't actually care about your kids because you still do this.
There's that still word again. You have a lot of assumptions about my lifestyle, but Have at them.
So there. Fletcher Boyd televised all trials, lots of high profile cases of the state screwing up. How many poor people get screwed every day?
Dude, that's the scariest thing.
Like, what's her face? Oh, what the hell? The one that Turtle Boy is covering.
Karen Reed.
Karen Reed.
Dude, the scariest thing is so there's a distinction that needs to be made. People talk about public defenders. They call them public pretenders and stuff like that. Public defenders are often very good lawyers with lots of trial experience, more than just about anybody else other than prosecutors. The problem is not that they're bad lawyers. The problem is that their caseload is absurd. You're talking about 200, 300, 400 active cases at any given time, and they just don't have the time and resources to go into doing deep dives into cases. So a lot of poor people get screwed by that system, even though it's there to protect them. So unless there's obvious deficiencies in their case, the public defender's office, they just don't have time to hear the story from the person who knows it. And that's a big detriment. And that's the advantage of having private counsel, is that you're paying someone for their time, which means you pay them as much as you need to get the facts and the story straight.
Like a prostitute.
Yeah, exactly. Except lawyers are worse than prostitutes. Let's be very clear on this, because they fuck you whether you're paying them or not, but it's never
fun.
Give me just a minute to hit the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Okay. Do 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 do. Let's see. Some of these super chats, you guys, I don't feel like he's gonna be able to like, can your wife go after Aaron for revenge corn? Again, he probably can't talk about that because it involves Aaron. Lexi. Let's see here. Okay, there's a couple more left. Trying to land this plane, guys. This is so fun. We gotta wrap this up soon. I gotta feed the bean. I hope you've enjoyed this chat with Nick Rekieta. He is a man of many things. Yeah. Bean is hungry. Usually I pump during streams, but not today. That's why he took this here. Yeah. This I can answer by myself. I can answer this one. K-Max. Chrissy, did you ever try any drugs back in college? If so, did you have to fight addiction or never had that problem? I feel like we all have our battles, but just for different things. No, I was such a prude in college. I tell that story of how, like, I smoked out of a bong once and I didn't know how to do it. So I leaned back too much and I drank a bunch of like a significant amount of bong water. And then,
oh God.
And then everyone was like, oh God. And then I go, I'm sorry. I left bong water for you guys. I didn't take it all. Like, I thought that was bong water was part of the process. And I was like, it's
whoa,
fine.
Guys, I didn't mean to drink all of this.
Yeah. And I just puked. I was a big prude in college. I didn't have time. I was in the pool like 4 hours a day, like most of the months out of the year. So I did not have time to have so much fun in college. So it's
interesting that people like, I think it's a testament to how effective programs like DARE and just government talk about drugs is. When someone says, did you ever try drugs in college? Did you have to fight addiction? Like the automatic assumption that someone who tries drugs, like, they're going to be hooked on them immediately, or that addiction is such like a simple process or universally applicable is insane. When you like actually get into it and you I guess, see the world for what it is. But people, you guys know, all of you out there know people who do highly addictive drugs all the time and are not addicted to them. Any opiate, oxycodone, hydrocodone. I don't mean they do them in a bad way. I mean, they get prescribed them for like recovery from something and they don't get addicted to them. And these are category 1 drugs. They're the most addictive substances with the highest risk rates. And people are like, well, if they do drugs, it's like, guys, a statute made something illegal. It doesn't mean that everybody who does it or tries it gets addicted to it. And you have to like get past that if you want to have a real discussion about things, because assuming that someone has done drugs means that they're addicted is an assumption that's just not correct. And for me, like I don't even take, if they prescribe me opiates, I don't take them. I've had several surgeries. It was my first knee surgery. They gave me, I think it was
your high knee.
No, it was my knee that was growing, but I had to watch my knee grow. But it was my first. It was my first knee surgery. It was my right knee. I had a torn medial meniscus, and they gave me, I think it was Vicodin, afterwards. And I took one of them and I like fucking hated it. I vomited. It was gross. I threw it out. So I don't do them though, because I literally fear opiate addiction. So I don't mess with them. But I know tons of people who have taken opiates after surgeries and they're not hooked on them. They don't get addicted to them. And again, these are some of the most addictive substances on the planet. And
I was so freaking mad when the anesthesiologist, I found out after the fact that there was fentanyl in my epidural. I was so mad because I didn't want that at all. But I guess that's one of the most common ones.
They put fentanyl. I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I didn't want that. I'm still pissed about that. But I was like I was delirious with pain, and I had already been having contractions for 4 hours. So I was like, get the guy. Whoa.
It's funny, actually. That's a fun endeavor. If you guys are ever like at a hospital or an office where they utilize a certain chemical for something, ask them what's in it. It's usually a cocktail of multiple things. But I was in an oral surgeon office, not for me. I've had my share of oral surgery, it just wasn't this time, and it was a different office. But I was asking them what was in their thing, and it was interesting to find out that they put like in their gas that they used to get people sedated, they used ketamine as part of their thing. It's like, holy shit, that's wild. And it made me think back to when I was a kid. I'd had a tooth that had a extraction that was complicated, so I had to go to an oral surgeon for it, and I got the nitrous, which is what I thought I was getting, but I like actually had hallucinated on it, and I wondered if like they had ketamine in the cocktail that I had when I was a kid. I was like probably 17 or something, and you have no idea what they're pumping into you. Same thing with epidurals, like finding out there's fentanyl in an epidural is horrifying to me.
One of like maybe like 3 or 4 drugs that are in there. It's mixed in with other stuff, but I was just focused on trying to tell a joke while the anesthesiologist was sticking me in the back with it. He did not laugh, but which is really what you want. You don't want a joke.
Yeah, you don't want him to laugh.
Anesthesiologist. No, you don't want a fun-loving medical team in general. You want the most boring A+ students possible.
Yeah, the anesthesiologist that I remember most was for one of our deliveries, and like all I could see, that guy was looking at Lady Rackets as like a model train set. Like you could see the autism happening as his movements were like very herky jerky. They were awkward. He looked like it was like, this is the Rain Man of epidurals. I love this guy. I trust him implicitly.
My guy was good. He was quick. He was Eastern European. He was very quick. He like, and I was so amazed that he did it perfectly, because I was convulsing from contractions like while he was, so I didn't know if I'd be able to hold still, but I just like dug my nails into the forearms of this lovely nurse, and it all worked out. Garfield again, can Nick tell us what was going through his mind when Kayla was being flirtatious with Worski in front of him? I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, Worski has said a lot that isn't true.
In your face, Garfield. No lasagna for you. From Lexi, can your wife go after Aaron for revenge corn?
It's more about, can the state do that? That's up to the state.
Okay. Fletcher Boyd, you didn't squat and cough during booking.
No, they didn't have me. I was literally surprised. Again, reading about all the things people think that happened during booking and during my arrest is like, oh, they drug tested and they didn't do that. They didn't do the body cavity search. There was some guy who awkwardly watched me change, but like that was it. And I didn't Slavic squat during it, but yeah.
Okay. I want to go off. First of all, Dominia. I did not want an epidural. My plan was no epidural. So do not judge people who have had an epidural. You do not know. Have you given birth, Domina Morgul? Do you have any clue what it's like? My whole freaking plan was no epidural. They put me on Pitocin because my water had already broken. The Pitocin makes your contractions extremely intense. Like you're in far more pain than if you were just laboring on your own. And they don't really give you the option to do that because once you go in, they're like, you can't leave. Your water's broken, lady. So I tried laboring just on Pitocin for 4 fucking hours. I'm telling you, the pain was in 11 and I'm a tough bitch. Okay. Did not want an epidural. And literally I was like, couldn't even stand. That's how bad the pain was. I didn't want it. And
You didn't actually.
I have a bone to pick. I have a bone to pick with like how they birth in this country because so many women I know, same thing. They get put on Pitocin, and then because it's so painful and they can't labor, they have to get the epidural. And the epidural, like, kind of, that's what I was worried about. I was worried about like drugging up the baby, but they all swear up and down like the epidural stays in your spine. It doesn't get to the baby, but all these drugs, they fuck with your heart rate, they fuck with the baby's heart rate. It's don't make it sound like, oh, you're where your priorities at. Fuck you, dude. You don't even, I bet you haven't.
No, Chris, you don't get to run from this one. You don't get to run from this one. You didn't even give birth unless you were in a cave biting on a fucking stick.
I wanted to go 0 drugs. That was my plan.
That's that's, some women can do that because the circumstances of the birth, but like a lot of women, I mean, it sucks.
Man. I would have rather have not gotten the Pitocin, but they're like, your water already broke, so we have to move this along. Okay, 3 more left, then we're done. Xander, Nick, do you still blame Jim?
100%. It's your fault, Jim. There was a headline when I got arrested. It was talking about like a blamed random person or unknown person named Jim. They were talking about Medicare. And it's like, wait, where did I blame Medicare? They changed it, but it was like, God, that was funny.
Okay, 2 more. Red Fox. I'm praying for Nick, Kayla, their kids, April and Aaron, all their families and friends during this horrible time. I hope all charges get dropped. Thank you, Red Fox.
Thanks, brother.
From Garfield, can Nick explain why he defamed Monty Graff? Also, can Nick explain how he is losing the case?
Well, defamation requires a lot of elements, and I don't think we meet them.
Boom, we're done. No more from Garfield. We're done. Thank you, Nick. I kept you on way too long, and my bean is probably starving. Where can people follow you? What's coming up for you?
You can follow me on YouTube, Rumble, Locals, rekietalaw.locals.com. What's coming up for me is right now content is in a very big lull because I kind of have a lot to deal with on the average day. And it's weirdly draining because it's like, the thing that occupies my mind most of the day is my own case. And so not being able to talk about it makes it difficult to put together stuff for a show. But what's coming is more content as that kind of transitions away. And, obviously my case will come to its dramatic rise and then conclusion starting August 21st when the next hearing is. So that's I can't talk about it leading up to that, but people will be talking about it. And as we get past that point, I'll know more. about my personal schedule. But you can follow me. You can also follow me on X. Everything's Rekieta Law, Rumble, X, which is Twitter, YouTube, locals. And I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody who does. Come watch the shows when I do them. If you like, you can come make fun of me. You can come just enjoy the commentary. Usually, like right now, I'm trying to focus on having good guests on and just having someone to talk with, because it makes things a little bit easier to stay focused on other topics. And yeah, it's always a good time, even if you hate it.
Thank you, Nick, for coming on. I know this was a lot of shit you didn't want to talk about, but I think you did clear up a lot of rumors and things that people had misconceptions on.
Yeah, it's there's a ton of them. And again, it's nobody out there's fault that they have misconceptions. You don't have all of the facts, and you can't, there's not a way to get them. So that's not me like shitting on anybody. It's me acknowledging very clearly and very plainly and candidly that, like, look, people have to make their decisions and judgments based on the information they have. I know of information that you guys can't have right now, and that's fine. I hope that at someday in the future, like, all of the facts get to come out and people can make their judgments based on that. And that's all I can really ask for. If people don't like me or think I'm like a horrible individual, I'm not here to change your mind. Like, you can just always assess me based on what you know and what you see. And yeah, that's all anyone can do.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you guys, everybody in the chat. And we will talk to you guys next time. Bye.